Secret Service Director Kim Cheatle is out. She's resigning. But is that taking accountability for the attempted assassination of a former president and GOP candidate or evading accountability? We'll be talking about that, the media collectively fawning now over KAMALA, and how to protect yourself from the next sinister plan. The news you need to know, but with solutions and hope. This is Get Free with KRISTI LEIGH. Gretchen Whitmer shockingly steps aside for KAMALA, but she'll be assisting in this deal, to be sure. She says Trump is not welcome in Michigan. We're talking to a former Ohio congressional candidate who attended the rally up north and can weigh in. We're also covering the cyber attack test run and how to make sure you don't become a victim when this likely happens again. But first, another day, another major development. Secret Service Director Kim Cheatle just resigned earlier today after mounting pressure from Congress. Now, Nancy Mace had also filed a motion to impeach Cheatle, but such an action would merely... After all, Cheatle oversaw one of the greatest Secret Service failures in American history. Shouldn't the consequences for almost getting a president killed be a little more than a forced resignation or impeachment? As the days go on and more evidence comes to light, the case to prosecute her strengthens. In fact, just yesterday, she refused to answer if the gunman was alone. Watch this.
Your agency has a no-fail mission, and on Saturday, July 13th, your agency spectacularly failed. The failure resulted in the death of Corey Comparator and serious injury to two other rally attendees, David Dutch and James Copenhaver, besides the injuries to President Trump. It is unfathomable that a 20-year-old on the radar of Secret Service and local law enforcement before President Trump went on stage was able to climb onto the roof of a building with a rifle and fire off multiple rounds before he was neutralized. Was Mr. Crooks acting alone?
Again, I would have to refer you to the FBI's investigation.
Was he just a lone gunman?
I would have to refer you to the FBI's investigation for motive.
Now, that's how most of the hearing went, just obfuscating, just passing the buck on to the supposed ongoing investigation, which is how most of these things have gone. It's been frustrating to watch all of these hearings and all of these strongly worded letters and, things just not happening. But I mean, pretty shocking that she can't even answer whether the narrative that they quickly put out there that he was a lone gunman is in fact the case. There's been audio analysis and there's been other speculation, but over a week later and we still can't even say if it was a lone gunman. Very weird. She also admitted to using encrypted apps to message people. Watch this.
Representative Boebert asked earlier about using encrypted apps that you said you have not used, I guess, Signal. Have you used any encrypted app to communicate from your personal device?
I do, on occasion, use encrypted apps to communicate.
So you use some form of an encrypted app to communicate with people within the federal government, with local law enforcement? Whom are you communicating using encrypted apps?
Many times it's with colleagues and associates.
So you're communicating with colleagues on a personal device?
There are times that the Secret Service, when we work internationally with some of our partners, that they don't have the same texting capability.
And you're not able to do that with your government-issued device?
Recently, we have been able to install some of those apps on government devices.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the things.
I mean, this is shocking. She's admitting that they download encrypted apps like Signal. She didn't say specifically Signal, but encrypted apps like that on government-issued devices. And one of her excuses is that sometimes they use these to work with foreign people, as if they don't have email. None of it makes sense. It's also crazy that just before she had denied using an encrypted app with Boebert, but Beauport had specified signals, so it's possible that she was just wording her way through that, being deceptive through the specific example given. But Anna Paulina Luna in this hearing, she also recommended that everything be reviewed because it's looking like she may have perjured herself in a few different instances. Now, again, her using encrypted apps would be normal if she were me or you, an ordinary citizen, but she was director of the Secret Services. Why did she want to hide her communication, especially on a government device? Now, even AOC found the whole debacle curious. She pressed Cheatle on why the investigation into what happened the day of the rally is taking so long. Watch this.
The individual used an AR-15 in order to act out his assassination attempt. An AR-15 has a range of about 400 to 600 yards. My question is, why does the Secret Service perimeter, why is the Secret Service protective perimeter shorter than one of the most popular semi-automatic weapons in the United States?
There are a number of weapons out there with a number of ranges. Again, an advance was completed. The determination of the perimeter, I'm not going to speak to specifics, but there are a number of factors that are taken into account when we determine our perimeter. Some of it has to do with terrain, some of it has to do with buildings, some of it has to do with assets and resources that are available.
And so what I'm hearing is that a perimeter was not established outdoors in an outdoor venue that would prevent an AR-15, which is one of the most common weapons used in mass shootings, from being able to be within the range of Secret Service protection.
Remarkable. I mean, even more remarkable that AOC actually was truthful and honest. I mean, obviously she wanted to use the agenda of pushing gun control in this situation, but I mean, good on her for pointing out the obvious here. Why was such a small perimeter set when, you know, weapons like this can be used from 400 or 500 meters away? And so the other point she made is that they're saying that this investigation can take 60 plus days, and it shouldn't take 60 plus days to answer basic questions like that about the obvious failures. Now, again, she is resigning, but these questions cannot go ignored. It seems that most Americans can agree Cheatle's non-answers and lack of information were unacceptable. And while Democrats are busy propping up Kamala in the wake of Biden's decision to drop out of the race, we still don't know what's going on with Joe Biden. Reports are saying Biden suffered an undisclosed medical emergency during his campaign trip to Las Vegas last week, which the mainstream media never talked about, of course. And upon arriving home in Delaware, we can show some of this video of Biden appearing to struggle getting out of the car there. He even needed his aides to assist him just getting out of a vehicle. Yet he's, you know, supposed to be recovering and great health. There's more to this than COVID, okay? That's ridiculous. Yet, of course, the media has continuously told us he is just fighting off COVID. The truth is, Democrats and media knew Biden was declining for quite a while now. We all knew it, yet they're coming up with all sorts of ways to force us to believe he's only falling apart just now. That tells you about everything you need to know about the left. They're liars, and not just any liars. They are liars that are willing to go so far as to use an empty vessel of a human being to force their satanic progressive agenda through. In other words, they will stop at nothing to destroy our country. Because if they're capable of lying to us for 4 years about Joe Biden's health just to keep him as their poster boy, what else are they capable of? The answer is anything. And they'll do it all under the guise of fighting for democracy so that no one questions it. And now it looks like Kamala Harris will be the next Democratic nominee, but with yet no democracy at work, no votes to earn that from everyday American people. Here's one man's analysis of the situation on X. Watch this.
So I'm trying to get this straight. The party that's all about defending democracy rigs 2 primaries in a row in 2016 and 2020 against Bernie. Then in 2024, they roll with a corpse as their presidential candidate and forbid anybody from challenging the corpse. And then, when they can no longer gaslight Americans about his condition, they toss him aside like he's a rotting vegetable, and then proceed to rig their 3rd straight primary by nominating a candidate that no one was able or allowed to vote for. So that's what they mean by defending democracy, in case you haven't already noticed. They tell you what to do, and you shut up.
And that's a more accurate take than any political pundit we've ever watched. And if you thought the gaslighting was bad under Biden, they're already gaslighting us into believing Kamala is likable. She hasn't even officially been nominated yet. She hasn't even laid out any policies, but yet we're just all gonna lockstep behind Kamala. This is about the worst acting from the media that I've ever seen. Watch this.
I'm jumping out of my seat over here watching this. I think people have been thirsting for this.
And I'll just say this, you know, and I'm with Tim. I'm jumping out of my seat higher than you, my brother. I'm just going to say that.
There was a twinkle in her eye. There was a kick in her step that, you know, when you're vice president, you know, you're not loose. You can't, you know, there's somebody above you. There's somebody, you don't want to overshadow them. And this was quite the coming out. And I got chills when she said, Donald Trump, I know your type. I was blown away. I was like, I kind of fell in love with her. I thought she was smart, engaging. She's funny, feisty, twinkle in your eye, punch you in the gut. I mean, everything you kind of want. I just thought it was a great, great opening act.
She looked completely comfortable tonight with the words she was speaking. They felt organic and genuine.
These people do realize that she's been in the White House for several years, that she's been the vice president for quite a while now. Where was all this praise and the twinkle in her eye? Oh, I love her. Where was that all this time? And then suddenly, oh, we failed to notice how amazing Kamala is. She's just amazing. I'm jumping out of my chair. Where was that the past few years? Like, you're acting as if she hasn't been around. Are you kidding me? There's nothing about that reaction that was authentic or believable. It was just gag me. Oh my gosh. Because the whole situation is a setup. It's a setup that Kamala was in on the entire time. And here's a new ad appropriately criticizing her for her role in the deep state's scheme. Watch.
Kamala was in on it. She covered up Joe's obvious mental decline.
Our president is in good shape, in good health, tireless, vibrant, and I have no doubt about the strength of the work that we have done.
But Kamala knew Joe couldn't do the job, so she did it. Look what she got done. A border invasion, runaway inflation, the American dream dead. They created this mess. Kamala owns this failed record. Make America Great Again Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
And so you might be wondering, who in the right mind could possibly not see what's going on here? And who seriously thinks Kamala Harris would make a good president? Well, the reality is the answers to those questions, they don't matter. Democrats don't have to worry about genuinely appealing to American citizens when they have the votes of people from all over the world. That's right. A caravan of 3,000 migrants hopes to cross the southern border into the U.S. before the 2024 election. And no doubt those 3,000 migrants will translate to 3,000 more votes for Kamala. But the good news is there is hope. Hope for the brainwashed Americans who vote for the horrible candidates with horrible policies. Take a look at this woman's amazing story.
9 years ago, this was me. I was 17 years old and I was protesting Donald Trump at a rally. I'm making this video so hopefully you can realize that it's okay to admit that you were wrong. A lot of us fell victim to the media's lies and a lot of us hated Donald Trump. You could see that I had a very articulate message and logic and reasoning behind my hatred for the man. No, Trump bad. I encourage all of you to watch the pinned video on this account, Tim Pool's interview with Donald Trump, where he talks about how he wants to bring peace to the world. I know I want peace. I'm sure that you want peace. I know back then I wanted peace, but I was hoodwinked, tricked, lied to, and deceived by the media. Don't be afraid to let go of your ego and admit that you were wrong. Our country depends on it. Last night, we all saw a strong man stand up after being pew-pewed in the face. Don't be a coward. We cannot grow as a country if everyone is scared to say what they're thinking. And make sure you're actually thinking. Here, I was not thinking, I was believing. You cannot think and believe at the same time.
So true. And in case you're wondering why sometimes you hear them say things like pew pew, it's because a lot of times they won't let you use the real word, or you'll get banned or whatever. It's like anything where you're trying to tell the truth. So she's just trying to work around that. But there is hope, you know, so keep on having those conversations, keep on putting the news out there, and we'll see what happens. Now, that was my good news portion of the day. I like to make sure I have something inspiring, something funny, something heartwarming, and I need help with that. I really need help with that. Sometimes it's really hard to find positive news. So please send it my way. If you see something good, go to just email klgetgoodnews@gmail.com, klgetgoodnews@gmail.com, so I can get the good news to everyone. All right, up next, more lies from leftists. Gretchen Whitmore says Trump isn't welcome in Michigan. We're going to take a look at how he was welcome. But first, truth is becoming stranger than fiction. Every day we have another historical event, another prediction come true. We've been warning you of the way even food is being weaponized. There's countless scenarios now in today's unrest that could lead to lack of access to food, with food prices skyrocketing. They want to put a bunch of chemicals in our food. Threats of war, I mean, you name it. Don't get stuck with no food or just rice and beans and some freeze-dried fruit. Make sure you have some good quality, never mRNA jobbed meat and premium cuts. You can go to klbeef.com to find those. klbeef.com. Watch this. Let them eat bugs, they say, or lab-grown meat. Or worse. No, we want our real beef. And we need to get free from the rising costs because the prices are skyrocketing. So you need to go to klbeef.com, stock up on all American beef from ranches in Texas, from Prepper All Naturals. We don't want the mystery meat. This meat is no mRNA jabs ever. It's freeze-dried, stored in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers for maximum shelf life. We're talking 10 plus years without refrigeration. We're not talking jerky. We're talking about something you can just soak in water for 15 minutes, ready to eat. And these are premium cuts: New York strip, tenderloin, sirloin, chuck. Just use promo code KLB15 for 15% off your order. Gretchen Whitmore shocking us all and backing Kamala. But, you know, she better watch her back. She better watch Cammy better watch her back is what I should say, because, you know, I don't know if you can trust this Cruella de Vil in Michigan there, kidnapping Dalmatians while she stages her own kidnapping. No, you can't trust this lady. She lies, says Trump is not welcome in Michigan, which is weird considering the massive crowd that showed up to support him and his VP in his first rally since, you know, he was nearly killed. Former GOP congressional nominee J.R. Majewski was there, and he joins me now to discuss.
I think it's pretty obvious that Trump's going to win Michigan. The rally this weekend was, I mean, it was a packed house. There was I think when I got there, the line was about 2 miles long, and I believe they got about 20 to 25,000 people indoors, and there was approximately another 20 to 25,000 outside. So, you know, I think Gretchen Whitmer is definitely not in touch with the Michiganders, because this was my second or third rally in Michigan this cycle, and every one of them he's packed the house.
I got to tell you though, I was actually surprised when she beat Tudor, I can't say her name right, Dixon. I mean, I thought, thank you. Thank you. I was actually surprised when that happened because I mean, I felt really good that people were sick of her and her antics, especially everything that she did in COVID. But there's no question that there's some shenanigans going on with the elections there. We saw it firsthand in 2020, them trying to close, like make it so you couldn't even see what was going on with the counting, people getting kicked out that were surveyors. And then on top of it, you had the situation with Gretchen Whitmer now passing legislation to where you can't even look into these kinds of things. So how do you still stay confident with all that going on?
Well, luckily in Ohio, we're pretty secure. But I do have some friends. I mean, I live right on the Ohio-Michigan border, so I do have some friends that are concerned. I would say that, you know, they need to just follow their vote. You know, they can go online to the Secretary of State's website and they can follow that their vote has actually been submitted, approved, and counted. And, you know, I think there were some suspicious things done all over the country, but obviously, as you pointed out, Detroit had, I would say they were on the prime time with the things that they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that we have done enough to secure our elections. I mean, I hope that there's challenges being made to that legislation to where you can't even look into it. And if it is looked into, it's sent over to clearly partisan AGs and such that will just ignore it. So a lot to be concerned about that. But, you know, again, you were a former Ohio congressional candidate. From Ohio. I'm from Ohio. And it's been really disappointing to see how Ohio is like bending over to bow down to the Democrats. I mean, they literally like they're well, somebody like Whitmer is making sure she's bending the rules to be able to cheat. You have our governor that's bending the rules and trying to make it so that even if the Democrats do something wrong, they can still correct themselves and get, you know, and before it was to get Biden on the ballot in time, but now that's changed. So, I mean, what do you make of that?
Well, I think we've known here in the state of Ohio that, you know, we have a governor and his cabinet that have been significantly suspicious on, you know, with respect to their affiliation, their dedication to putting the country first, right? And I don't think any of them are necessarily loyal to Donald Trump. But when Donald Trump wins the nomination, you know, when it's obvious that he has the momentum, he's going to win the presidency. You know, they're singing their tune. But you know, the grassroots and the people here, they're not tricked, and we're not duped on that. And I think that's gonna pose a significant challenge for Republicans across the state. And I don't think it's just here in Ohio. You know, one of my concerns is that I believe Trump is going to win the presidency. I've thought that for some time, but you know, I'm concerned that he's going to go into the White House with a limited Congress, meaning we may lose the House and we may not pick up enough seats to win the Senate. And I would hate to see Donald Trump face his first 2 years of his term without a Congress to support his agenda. And unfortunately, I think that's probably what the deep state and the establishment's intentions are. And there's been classic examples of them pushing candidates to the president so that he would, you know, be positioned to endorse them without really understanding, I think, you know, their affiliation, their history, and how they have not supported him in the past. And if you look across the country, you know, at the RNC, you know, Donald Trump and all these other folks speaking, you know, the applause and the response they would get at a Trump rally, I think, significantly differed from what they got at the RNC. And that's because I think primarily most of those delegates were former DeSantis or former delegates of oh man, what's her name? The terrible one. Oh man, I just had a brain freeze. Anyways,
it's hard
you know,
to remember the terrible ones' names. Oh, Nikki Haley? Yeah. Are you talking about
Nikki Haley? Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, why should we remember that? Did we just forget about her already?
Yeah, we should just want to forget her anyway. But yeah, I know here in Ohio that when I looked across the delegates that were here, most of them were delegates for either DeSantis or Nikki Haley. And I don't think that's a true representation of the people here in Ohio that vote.
So, I mean, because Trump does not have a good track record with who he decides to trust, many people, including myself, were quick to be suspicious of J.D. Vance, even though, again, he is from my state of Ohio, but because of past statements that were not at all flattering and how he felt about Trump and some of his connections, there was suspicion there. I'm coming around a bit, but where do you stand and how comfortable you feel with J.D. Vance being the man that has been named as VP?
I love JD Vance. I met him when I was campaigning my first time around. And, if you recall Ohio Senate election, that cycle, there were a couple of people that were strong Trump supporters. And when the president decided that he was going to endorse JD Vance, that obviously had some reverberation across the state. And me being someone who was widely popular as a Trump supporter, I was asked by the president to, help support JD. And I didn't have an issue with that because I'd met him campaigning. And, I found him to be a very articulate, honest guy. One of the first things that he mentioned to me was his previous comments about the president and how he felt stupid for being fooled by the media. But he also articulated pretty quickly on how that makes him more ambitious in changing the dynamic and the landscape of our political system and how we are affected and impacted by the lies and the propaganda that's pushed upon us. Because JD's a smart guy. He's got a lot of pride. And, he's the first one to say he was fooled. And I think that's pretty honorable from, coming from a guy like that.
Right. And one of my initial concerns with him is because he presents himself so well, I was kind of thinking of him as more of like an establishment figure. But then I had to get checked myself, like, well, wait a minute, he's only been in politics for like a year and a half or something. I'm like, really? I'm like, has it only been that long? Because he held himself well. He's just very clearly a smart guy, and he's been in the spotlight because of writing Hillbilly Elegy, etc. Now, as far as his seat, who do you see filling his seat? I heard that you were asked to fill his seat.
I don't think anybody's officially been asked yet. It's when the announcement came out, there were a lot of phone calls from the press. There was a lot of activity on Twitter and other forms of social media, calling for me. I know there were some calls from Vivek Ramaswamy as well. I think when you consider that seat and you look at who is on the forefront of Ohio politics, Vivek and I would be the perfect Vivek or I would be the perfect replacement for JD Vance. I don't know, what the governor has up his sleeve. Obviously, he would be the one to make the appointment, but I would certainly expect that Donald Trump would have some pretty high weight in that decision, and at least in that conversation. So now I'd like to see somebody that could replace JD Vance as someone that is looking to push forward the America First agenda. I don't want another Rob Portman or some other lame duck guy, because not only did JD do a lot of work to get that seat, so did the people that supported him, so did people like myself. And so I think we deserve to be represented by someone that has the same demeanor and the same outlook as JD Vance, not someone that's handpicked by the governor to push, his side of the agenda or his side of politics.
Absolutely. And I think you're right to have concerns about that. We can't forget about how important these positions are, in addition to the new president, because again, if Trump is able to get past the deep state and secure the presidency, then he's just going to be up against more not being able to do anything if we don't have the right people in place. Now, let's get an update on where things are at with you. For those that don't know, you're a veteran. You were the victim of a media smear campaign that lied about you, the Associated Press, etc. And I believe that played a part in you deciding to, you ran again, but then pulled back out. And again, you would have been filling another career politician's seat, Marcy Kaptur, who we have not been able to get out. So frustrating. So give me an update on, what has made these ups and downs and these political plays that you've made, and where you stand now.
Well, I dropped out because I was facing similar, contentious politics from the establishment. They didn't want me in. I was winning my primary by over 25 points. I was obviously going to be the nominee. And, as it just turns out, there were just a lot of internal politics, and there were threats to not fund me and help me in the general election. And so, with that being said, even though I clearly win the primary, getting into the general election, I would just be a sitting duck. And I wasn't willing to put myself through that, or my family. And the other part of it is that, we do have such a slim majority in the House of Representatives. If the Republican Party is going to put a lot of money against some guy that they think can beat Marcy Kaptur, God help them. I hope they can, and I hope they win. Do I think they can? Absolutely not. I think I'm the guy that's going to win, and I think that they're stupid and foolish for not supporting me, but that's what happens when you can't be controlled, right? So, you know, I've stepped aside because, again, I don't want to see that seat lost, and I don't want to see, you know, that have an impact on the overall scheme of things when we talk about, you know, Trump having a House of Representatives that support him. And, you know, so I stepped aside and you know, I'm still supporting President Trump, obviously, and J.D. Vance, but, you know, I've decided to get back into the nuclear power industry. So, you know, I took a vice president's position about 3 weeks ago. So I've been, you know, working pretty formidably in the power industry. And, you know, I would assume that, you know, when President Trump wins, you know, there will be a spot for me in his administration somewhere. He needs a strong advocate for energy, as we know how important energy is to him and his policy. I don't think that I won't be getting a call. So I'm just out there fighting the good fight, but
yeah,
you know, it's a long road for anybody.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that naming of VP in your nuclear energy sector. And on that note, I'm going to be talking about this strange thing that happened with, many are calling it a cyber attack test run with CrowdStrike. What are your thoughts? I mean, being in the energy sector, are there concerns there? I mean, there's been so many crazy things that have happened in such a short period of time that we can't rule anything out at this point. So any thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, I think when you look at energy, you know, as a portfolio, right, and how important it is, you know, I think we talk about the border, we talk about the elections, we talk about all these different things, inflation, but, you know, fundamentally securing our energy grid and controlling that, protecting it, and modernizing it to a point where, you know, we have absolutely no reliance on any other entities that could damage it is our number one concern, and it should be the concern of anybody running for office right now. And I would ask anyone that has a different opinion of, you know, what can name an issue that we can address head on that's facing this country right now if we can't turn the lights on. And there's no response to that. And, you know, I think there's been a lot of questionable things that have gone on with our grid, with our power structure over the past few years. But, you know, I would almost bet that, you know, this is another implication of you know, the powers that be testing the waters to see what they can get away with and what they can't get away with prior to this big presidential election in November. That's my theory.
Okay. And then on a good note, one of the pictures you posted going back to the Michigan rally was a young man that you brought with you. There's the picture of him and that you were just advocating. What is his name again?
His name's Mike.
Mikey. Okay.
His name's Mike. He's from Toledo, and he goes to St. Francis de Sales High School. And you know, over the past few years, being, you know, someone who's ran for Congress, been very engaged in the community, I've had the pleasure of getting to know President Trump and being someone that, you know, he extends an invite to when he has rallies, you know, in a place that I can travel, that doesn't really bind up my schedule. So, you know, anytime the president reaches out to me and his team offers me an opportunity to come attend the rally, I always make it a point to take some of the folks that, you know, adore him that haven't been to the rally yet. And Mike was next on the list, and he had a pretty good time, a really, really good time.
That's awesome. You know, a lot of the time our youth get written off because they have so much propaganda being thrown at them through their social media apps that, of course, highly favor the leftist liberal points of view and then censor anything that's conservative, really. So what are your hopes and plans for, you know, the youth? Do you think they'll come out strong? Do you think they'll surprise some people when it comes to this next election?
Well, that's one of the things that I've been doing with my social media platform over the past few months is, you know, targeting Gen Z. And a lot of it happens intentionally, but I would say some of it is just incidental, right? The folks that I'm engaging with, you know, there's a couple different personalities on TikTok that have millions of viewers, much more than I do, that I've befriended, and you know, they're younger men and women that have come to the conclusion that they've been lied to, that their parents have been lied to. And I think what they're looking for are just strong personalities that are willing to stand up for the fundamental principles of what, you know, drives America and makes this country so great. And I just happen to be one of those people. And so, you know, I'm doing my best to, you know, give them the truth about the Donald Trump that I know, the Donald Trump that has, you know, been a fantastic president, and the Donald Trump that actually cares about their generation and just doesn't see them as a bunch of smiling, happy-go-lucky kids that live their lives on the internet. There's much more fabric to that. And, you know, the more Donald Trump is out in the limelight, the more he's, you know, rallying and speaking to people of, you know, outside of the traditional Republican base, you know, the more valuable that message becomes. And I think that Generation Z is going to show up pretty strongly, because I think they're getting a little bit intimidated, and so are their parents, and that's a big deal.
All right. Well, JR, thank you so much for sharing your time. Keep us updated on the latest and what you're getting involved with or what you're hearing. And we sure do appreciate you coming on frankspeech.com. Get free with Kristi Leigh. Thank you.
Thanks, Kristi. I appreciate it.
You too. You do. You bet. All right. Well, as we said, you know, you never know what's going to happen day by day now, do we? There's just been so much craziness. So make sure you're prepared for anything. Don't get left in the dark. Make sure you're prepared for the next outage or all-out cyber attack. We're going to show you how. But first, also make sure you have a secure way to barter or protect your savings. We have a couple different options now. Brand new as an offering is the Prepper Bar. You can go to thekristibar.com, and it is a way to barter with real gold or real silver. This is designed to, you can even keep it in your wallet. You can break off the pieces as you go along to use if in case we have a bank outage, you can't access any other money. Well, here you have something. I have it right here. Speaking of secure, these things come protected, and I don't know if you can see, but a plastic casing, and it is kind of difficult to get open. Like, I've done it a couple times now, but it's like I can't do it while I'm on here. So so it comes really nice and secure, but once you get it out, and I'll pull it out for next time, you can keep it easily in your wallet. And like I said, you can break it apart. Very cool. Great thing to get as a gift for someone. There's going to be big disparity between the price of the silver Prepper Bar and the gold bar, but you can check that out. You can go to thekristibar.com. Make sure that you have at least one silver bar, just in the case of the worst case scenario. You can even get multiple bars and keep some in your retirement account if you'd like. Now, another way to have some tangible assets of precious metals in your retirement account, which I highly advise that you do if you haven't already, make sure that you have some precious metals in there for true allocation and diversity. You don't want to just have a bunch of different positions. It's important to have tangible assets in there too. Another way you can do that is you can go to getklgold.com, getklgold.com. And I'm going to warn you that you're hearing a lot of different companies advertising this, you know, oh, make sure you have gold and everything, but you really have to do your homework. Make sure it's someone that you can trust, because a lot of them, they make promises like, oh, you can get this much free gold or whatever, or this much free silver. But like, are you really, did they mark it up to, it's not the best sector for necessarily trusting people. So I fortunately found a company that I can trust, good Christian company, Genesis Gold. You can go to getklgold.com, get a free consultation. But go ahead and watch this. Get free with Kristi Leigh, and that includes getting free from tying up all your money in the banks we can no longer trust.
Greed works.
The market, which can face manipulation, and getting ahead of any central bank digital currency schemes that might be headed our way. In times of uncertainty, the wisdom of diversifying with gold and silver shines brighter than ever. Genesis Gold Group offers a path to invest in these precious metals, echoing the biblical principles of wisdom and preparation. So go to getklgold.com to get your free gold and silver guide and get started. That's getklgold.com. All right. Some companies still trying to recover from a botched software update is what they're calling it, from cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike. That paralyzed some window-based programs, again, supposedly. But this is, no matter what the true cause or who is truly behind this, it has reverberated through so many different things. You know, we just showed you an article there that canceled flights affected many, and Delta is still trying to get back on track. They had to continue canceling flights. Heard from so many family members and colleagues that were stuck here, there, and everywhere while this debacle was going on. And it also hit the banking, healthcare industries, even manufacturing. And so, again, was this truly just a whoopsie from a security firm? Like, how ironic, right? Or was this a test run? I mean, either way, it should have been a test run for you to know that things could be much worse. You know I was out of internet that day for at least 7 hours when this first happened. Fortunately, it didn't affect the phone lines at that point. Well, at least my phone line. Some people it did. Some people had total outages. But we've been seeing a lot of that. And so these are warning signs. They're warning signs to make sure that you're prepared at every level. And obviously communication is one of them. You want to be able to tell your family if you're okay when things go down. So there was an interesting observation that was pointed out on X, Jimmy Corsetti. He said that CrowdStrike is a partner with WEF, and even Klaus Schwab had previously spoke about the potential for a comprehensive cyber attack. Watch this.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
They always tell you what they're going to do just before they do it, right? These evil people. All right, well, here to discuss is Brett Miller of the Satellite Phone Store. So thank you so much for being with me.
Thanks for having me, KRISTI. I'm just with a comprehensive cyber attack that's coming one of these days soon. These people
I know,
are crazy.
it always seems like, it is. So crazy, so crazy. Yeah. Now, just to review, we've been through so many crises within just the past few years. We've had weather events. Right. We've had the crisis at the border. And I'm naming just the crises that have affected communication. I'm not even mentioning everything.
Yeah.
And then obviously, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, we can go down the list. You know, Lahaina, flood, tsunami in Japan. We got wars in Gaza. The Gaza Strip destroyed, so communications down there. We got wars in Ukraine. They were asking for Starlink, if you remember that, not too long ago. Yeah, we had a border crisis. We had Burning Man, you know, and a couple 100,000 or 100,000 so people stuck in the middle of the desert. You know, and now we're having comprehensive cyber going down. I mean, CrowdStrike is funny because the name says strike the crowd. So their whole idea is to strike the crowd, the CrowdStrike. I don't know. It's just me. It's their name, not mine. But, you know, what's happening now is what we're seeing is, you know, communication is going down everywhere. Power is going down everywhere. People are losing the ability to connect with the ones they love. And that's what we're doing at sat123.com, the satellite phone store, is we are still in the business of putting people in communication and connection with each other when they lose this convenience, this cell phone tower, this Wi-Fi connection. When that goes down, which it is going down, it has gone down so many times over the last few months. When that goes down, the only way to communicate with the ones you love is a satellite device. The satellites are up there. This device right here will keep you in touch with the ones you love, with emergency services, with your community, with your family, your friends. And I'll give you a few $100 off if you tell them KRISTI came. So, or tell them KRISTI sent you. So, you know, if you sign up one of the devices, you know, you're going to be in touch. You're going to be in communication. You're going to be in contact with the ones you love. And that's what's happening right now. We're watching it play out in real time. I mean, I don't have to sell anything. The world is selling it for us.
And I really want to advocate that every patriot have one of these ready, because we need a way to connect,
There you
because
go. Yeah.
that is going to be their biggest tool against us, is to break our communication. We cannot rely on the encrypted app services that, you know, even the Secretary of Service or Secretary
I
of
know. How about
Secret
her?
Service was using. We can't rely on that, because we
I
could
know.
get broken off altogether. But if we all have a sat phone, we can get together. I, for one, obviously have a sat phone here, very easy to use. You just pull this up and can connect that way should everything go down. And then, you know, what's the point in having one of these if you don't have anybody to connect to? So I'm working on making sure my family has one of these, starting with my mama, of course, because who doesn't want to be able to call their mama if the worst goes down?
That's right.
And so I was trying to help her navigate through the website. If you could share the website again, it can be kind of overwhelming, Brett, to look at the website and see all the different options that you have. So take us through how that works. I mean, also if they're mentioning me to get a deal, I know there's a discount part, but they don't necessarily need to use that. They can use like the chat, or how does that work?
They can, you know, if they just come to the site or they call customer service, we will give you a bivy stick. Right now, I don't have my bivy stick. It's attached to my backpack. I was camping this weekend. But we'll give you a bivy stick, which is a satellite texting device. You can have that for free. Just tell them KRISTI sent you. And also, like I said, we'll give you a few $100s off this satellite phone right here. This is a Iridium phone. The phone that you are holding up, that's an Inmarsat phone. We got great deals on the Inmarsat and Iridium. Like I said, the satellite networks are there. Stay in touch with your mom, your daughters, your sisters, your brothers, your mom, your family, and build that community. You know, having a neighborhood, having a network when emergencies, you know, take place, that's priceless, right? Being able to take care of the ones you love at the time you need it the most, or the time they need it the most, you know, that's just a peace of mind that you can't live without, and you certainly can't buy it unless you're buying communication devices, and that's what we're doing. So come to SAT123. If you are new, just tell our customer service that, hey, I'm new to this, I don't know what I'm doing, and we're happy to walk you through it. We have a lot of great customer service people ready to talk with you, communicate with you, find out what your needs are and what your concerns are, so that we can match your concerns with your needs and get you, you know, the tech, the devices, the network, and get you set up so that if something does take place, God forbid, which is happening, you're ready and you're prepared.
Yeah, and Satellite Phone Store has the best customer service. Such generous people you are most of the time. Like in these crisis situations, I know, and like in the situation in Maui, you were making sure that people had them, and so you're giving them out for free to get people connected, to save lives. I mean, so incredible organization, patriotic organization, and so just really want to make sure that you're prepared, and ultimately, you know, so that they can stay in business, you end up maybe paying for the service that you can have available, but oftentimes that's way less than what you'd be paying for your regular cell phone, of course. And so just seek it out. Just seek out the information. I'm telling you what, I'm waiting to give my phone number out, but I'm only going to give it out to people that have one of these so that we can stay connected. So I'm patiently waiting for you to get your own sat phone so you can call me and we can make sure that we can talk to each other when the poopy hits the fan, as they say,
exactly.
You know, in the G-rated version.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, you're right. And I mean, people should just look around, you know, assess your abilities, assess your ability to take care of the ones you love, assess your ability to contact people that aren't directly in front of you. And then if you find a gap in your security, in your planning, or your preparation for the next emergency, fill that gap. Fill it with information, fill it with communication, fill it with tech, fill it with your neighbors, you know. Be prepared. That's all we're talking about. Build your community. Stay in touch with the ones you love. That's the best way to survive any disaster, especially one that strikes your community, is to be the leader. Be the one that can connect the people that connect the emergency services, connect your neighborhood, connect your community. Be that person. Be the one prepared, and be ready. Be ready. So come check us out, sat123.com. We really appreciate you, KRISTI. Thank you so much. And yeah, there we are.
Yeah, definitely. I know. I mean, now there's people in general procrastinate. And so, you know, don't procrastinate on this because, you know, obviously you need the food, obviously you need the water. But this, I think, is right up there with something that you need to make sure that you have right away, because should you get low on a supply, or you can barter on a supply, then you need a way to communicate to other people with the supplies. Who are going to be the people that are prepared? Who are going to be the people that are ready for this? The Patriots, right, Brett? Like, what are all the libs going to do, right?
I mean, if you're watching this right now, you are the person that's the first responder when the emergency takes place in your area. You know, I was saying this the other day. You know, when you call 911, you're calling years of experience. Years of experience. You know, think about an EMT, a police officer, a fireman. How many years of training do they go through in order to show up at your house and help you within seconds, minutes, right? Because that's all you have in an emergency. So if that 911 goes away, you're it. You're the one. You're emergency services. You need to take care of your family. You need to take care of your neighbors. You need to get your family to safety, your friends. You need to, connect with your community, find the insulin, find the blankets, find the water, right? All the things that you talk about, and you express all the great ways for people to prepare and to prepare themselves. So you're doing a great job there. But yeah, absolutely. Communication is one of those needs, just like food and water and warmth and shelter. Communication is essential. And I would just challenge anybody listening to go through a day without communicating with anyone and then tell me how unimportant communication is, right? Because you can. We talk to everybody all day long. And most people that we talk to, we aren't next to. So we have to consider that. And if you're watching now, you are the first responder. You're the one that people are going to look to because you're prepared. You're the one. So why do you need a communication device, a satellite communication device? Because everyone's going to be coming to you to look for help because you're the one that's paying attention and you're prepared. So be that person. And when the time comes, have that peace of mind and be ready, be prepared.
Yes, absolutely. Brett, always a pleasure to talk to you again. Go to sat123.com, tell them I sent you, and they'll give you a few $100s off, give you the best deal, and make sure that we can stay connected. Then just reach out to me, let me know your sat phone, and then we'll at least be able to talk to each other in Armageddon.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so
How's
much.
the apocalypse over there? Oh, it's great. Yeah. Okay.
I'm still alive. How about you? Okay, great.
I'm doing good. Do you have any bread? I'm starving. Yeah.
I know, right?
All right.
No, we're laughing, but the way things are going,
I know it's not fun.
Our former president was almost just killed. I mean, like, this is crazy. Like, this is crazy the way things are going down. So yeah, you can't be over prepared. The weirdest things are happening right now. So thank you again, Brett. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kristi. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. God bless you. All right.
You too. Bye-bye. Sat123.com, sat123.com. Tell them I sent you. Even if you have no idea what you're doing, if you're like my mom and get on that website and you're like, whoa, there's like all kinds of stuff on here. I'm not sure what I need. They will help you. The nicest people ever, true patriots. And again, we need to be able to talk to each other and when things go down. You know, you've probably heard me say this before, but my husband's a huge movie fan. So I think one of the newest movies, I think it was called Land of Free or Land of something. But anyways, towards the end of the movie, like they're about to die and he's desperately trying to find a place to use his sat phone. I'm like, oh, I have one of those. I bet mine's better. I bet mine could have saved his life sooner in this movie. But yeah, no, we talk about it. We laugh it off, but these are, I mean, man, you never know what's going to happen. And you don't want to be left being like, man, I wish I would have, when that guy Brett was on Kristi's show, I really wish I would have taken them up on the offer, gotten my free gear or, you know, what I needed. And it's just a small price to pay to know you'll be ready for whatever comes down. So again, that's sat123.com. And again, your support in supporting your family and staying secure helps support this show as well. All right. Speaking of support, there's not many homes for former news anchors. You know, here I was an award-winning news anchor and I, you know, living, feeling pretty good. You know, it was always hard work, but to be there and now to be here. No, I love being here, but it hasn't been necessarily the easiest journey. And I would have no voice. I would have nowhere to go because I'm obviously censored even on X sometimes, censored on Facebook, all of the things. They make it so hard for anybody that's trying to tell the truth to survive. So if it wasn't for Mike Lindell and Frank's speech, I would have nowhere to go. So make sure you're supporting Mike Lindell. Go to mypillow.com/KL. Use promo code KL to get your deals on your sheets and the best pillows ever. Loving the towels. That's something new that I have. So go to mypillow.com/KL. Use promo code KL. You can get $25 6-piece towel sets. And again, I love the towels right now. So check them out, support them. That also helps support the show. All right, for the verse of the day, it comes from Psalm 143:10. It is, teach me to do your will, for you are my God. May your good spirit lead me on level ground. So there you go. We need to know the spirit, have the spirit lead us, because times are crazy. All right, make sure you tell other people about Get Free with Kristi Lee and spread the word now on frankspeech.com Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for watching.
Three years ago, frankspeech.com was launched during the height of mass media censorship to give voices back to those who had their voices silenced. Today, we stand at the precipice of a new era, covering the most important presidential election in American history. An era defined by the battle for some of our most fundamental rights: freedom of speech, freedom of press, and secure elections. We at Frank Speech refuse to be silenced. We refuse to bow down to the forces that seek to dictate what we can and cannot say. We are the media now. Join us in this fight at frankspeech.com.
You might not want to hear what we're saying, but we're going to say it.
In a world of uncertainty, be prepared with Silver Prepper Bars, your ultimate hedge against political instability and economic turmoil. Introducing the Silver Prepper Bar, crafted from 0.999 pure silver and proudly made in the USA. This tangible, divisible asset can come in handy even in the toughest of times. Portable, perforated, and easily tradable, the Silver Prepper Bar is your lifeline in times of crisis. When facing inflation, currency devaluation, and financial meltdown, Silver Prepper Bars provide peace of mind. Don't wait for disaster to strike. Secure your future today with the exclusive Silver Prepper Bar, the only silver bar on the market divisible into 3 different size pieces for maximum utility, all while fitting in your wallet. The smart choice for savvy investors and preppers alike. With Silver Prepper Bars, you're ready for whatever tomorrow brings. Hi folks, I'm here today to introduce you to the Prepper Bar from PrepperBar.com, the most unique precious metals product we have seen in a long time. These 62-gram bars are perforated and easily broken down into your choice of 3 different sizes to fit a multitude of needs. Whether it be from asset protection from inflation, economic turmoil, or its unique utility for barter and trade, the Prepper Bar makes a perfect gift for all the precious metal lovers out there. Exclusively made here in the USA and selling out fast. Available in both gold and silver, these slim Prepper Bars fit neatly in your wallet, and their utility enables use in any situation. As gold and silver prices continue to surge, and top economists predict upcoming shortages, now is the time to secure your precious metals in the form of Prepper Bars. Go to PrepperBar.com now and place your order before supply runs out and prices go up. All payment methods accepted. Order your Silver Prepper Bars now at PrepperBar.com. Silver Prepper Bars, ready for whatever tomorrow brings. Order now.
Mike Lindell here, and like you, I see our country being destroyed daily. We face massive economic issues, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, there are people in power who threaten the values that have made our country great. Well, I've been a believer in gold and silver for a long time, and I've searched for years for a partner that shares my values. Well, Genesis Gold Group showed me how easy it is to protect your IRA, 401k, or your retirement with gold and silver. Their faith-driven approach to service and stewardship is one that stands out from the rest. So call Genesis Gold Group now at 1-800-200-GOLD. That's 1-800-200-4653, or go to LindellGoldRush.com now.
We're a community of proud, fearless patriots who aren't afraid of wearing our values on our sleeve. We are Honor Bound USA, and we proudly declare our declaration to God, family, and country. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Conservative Daily Podcast branded products, we have t-shirts to hoodies to beanies. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Explore our collection today, because when you're honor bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle.